What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Monday, January 29th, 2024, and we are here for another midday stream. If you haven't done so already, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button, hit that share button. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure to have your bell clicked so you'll be notified whenever I post a new video or go live. Shout out to all of my people over on Patreon. Shout out to all the members here on the channel. Shout out to everybody in the Discord, people who follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and everyone who sends me stories far and wide. And also shout out to everybody who contributed to the poll yesterday as well. I actually posted up what the lineup was as far as the poll results as the videos going on from today all the way through Saturday. We already got one down today about the south of the Borderian problem happening in Chicago. There will be another follow-up video about that coming on later on in the week. But today we are here to talk about Tim Scott yet again. I think this is the second Triple P I've done on Tim Scott. The first one was when he had dropped out of the presidential campaign. And now we have this one where he's saying that he has been facing anti-Black verbal attacks or whatever the case may be from white liberals. I have a feeling it's not only them that are saying anything, but that's the lane he wants to go with. But remember, this is the same person who said America is not a racist country. So before I get into all of that, let me go ahead and acknowledge the people who are here so far in the chat. We have DJ, Sharon Jones, EQ, CW5001, Craig Colson, Davis McMillan, Hackson KT, DSB, Painful Truth, Denise Scales, DSM Sinister, Percy Earl III, Donna C, Wallow J, Rachel Marin, Derry B, Jerry Bedford, P. Yvette, Letitia, Key Prince, JB, 16 Voice, Miss Renee, Kazuma Fury, Be First Is, Rokamuro, Cyberdime 100, Jekyll, Cold Red 713, Tatum Man, Patricia Jones, Dewani Nelson, Key Prince, Melanated Mantra, Bot Boy versus FBA Chuck D, Sharon. Who else? Atanda, and that is it so far. So yes, we will be discussing, and also shout out to Cyberdyne for the Cash App. I appreciate it. So yes, we will be talking about Tim Scott today, and I actually have to give a shout out to two people before I actually get into this. I have to give a shout out to Harvey over at Your World, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even know about this. Harvey actually was the first person I saw speak about this on his channel. I think last week was when I saw it, and I said, I definitely got to talk about this, but it has to be in the form of a live stream. But that's not the only thing I'm going to be talking about when it comes to Tim Scott. It's going to be another part 2 that's going to happen after we go through this. So I'm not even going to like spoil your eyes with that clip that I showed y'all during my live stream last week. Well, not last week, but the week before that, when he was up there, like literally bucket. I mean, the butter dust was flying everywhere. I mean, he was like Pigpen off of Charlie Brown. Instead of dirt coming off of him, dust was coming off of him. Up there, literally all he needed was some knee pads when it came to how he was performing, being very performative in a very non-manly way on that stage with Trump. If you didn't see it, I don't know what to tell. Well, thank God you didn't see it, because it's very damning to watch. But he did an interview with Sean Clanity, of all people. That should tell you enough right there. He did an interview with Sean Clanity where he talks about how he was disrespected, or he said he was responding to the liberal media attacks on him. And the thing is, he has no one to blame but himself when it comes to this situation, because he literally allows himself to be the butt, literally the butt of every joke, willingly. So we're going to go over this interview that he did with Sean Hannity, or Sean Clanity, excuse me. And this is on the Fox News website. The interview is about 6 minutes long, and we're going to listen to what Tim Scott had to say. But keep this in mind, y'all. This is the same guy that said that America is not a racist nation.
Deals with the border crisis. Joe Biden, he took a quick trip north to Wisconsin. As usual, mumbling, bumbling, stumbling, and slurring his words, whispering into the microphone, yelling, getting confused.
I can skip through all of this. I just want to get to the part what I'm trying to get to. Sean, we ain't trying to hear what you got to say outside of what we here for.
About the economy, just like he lies.
Let me just skip right on the head.
3 years being secure and closed. Take a look.
Skip right on the head.
You're not allowed to attack. You're not, Tim Scott. Senator.
All right.
Identity groups in America, you're not allowed to attack them. But there seems to be open season on one group, conservative African Americans. I'm sure you're sick and tired of it, because I certainly am. Some of these comments are repulsive.
Absolutely. They're vile and disgusting comments coming from the far left. Sean, the most racist in the country are liberals.
Didn't he say a couple years ago that America was not a racist country? That's how he said it. America was not a racist country. That's what he said, y'all. The tune has changed from then to now. It changed before this, because I talked about him before, I think last year, when he said that it was some racism that he was dealing with. And I'm like, no one's taking you seriously, Tim Scott. You said that America was not a racist country. And notice he's saying that all the racism in the country is coming from white liberals. How does he know it was only white liberals that said something about him? I'm almost certain that that was not the case. I bet some of them came from the people whose butt he kisses every single day. This man literally wakes up with buck dancing on the brain. He eats, sleeps, breathes, and practically worships it. This guy is an utter disgrace. He did say that, Patricia. He said it. Shout out to Lisa, because every time she did a video talking about some anti-blackness that happened in the establishment, she always inserted that clip right there at the beginning. Those were his words, that America is not a racist country. That's how he said it, in that exact cadence.
The bigotry that comes from the far radical left, it's just normal these days. Why? Because they're trying not just to attack me, but they're trying to make sure that any other minority who will think for themselves.
Notice what he just said, that he said, not only are they trying to attack me, but any other minority. That lets you know right there how he sees himself.
And consider the GOP. They want to send a message to every single one of them. Step out of line and we'll attack you too. That level of intimidation.
Well, guess what, Tim Scott? If you do step out of line, they're going to attack you. That's why I said, that's why I titled the video, the stream, the way that I did. Has Tim Scott gotten the memo yet or not? Many of you said no, and I have to agree. He hasn't gotten the memo yet, but he will, because everyone does.
Doesn't work with me, and to every single African-American, Hispanic, millennial, anybody in the majority population or minority population, if you believe in conservatism, stand up and be counted. If you want to make America the greatest nation on God's green earth, step into the fire, because we have to save this nation. We better save it right now, because the radical left, they're so...
Hear how he's talking, the radical left, I swear, if you closed your eyes, you would swear this is coming out of a PC politician's mouth. He's using all of their terminology. This guy is literally walking with a battery in his back. Like I said, all you got to do is listen to the words he's saying. What black person goes around constantly saying the radical left? Besides maybe Tim Scott and a couple of others over there.
Afraid of people like me, people like you, Sean, thinking for ourselves.
You're not thinking for yourself, Tim Scott. You are using the same talking points as they are. That's not thinking. That's regurgitating. There's a difference between thinking and regurgitating. You are literally regurgitating whatever it is they want you to say. But just keep all this in mind of what I'm saying right here as he's going through this, because that's literally going to be the perfect segue into the next thing I'm going to talk about concerning him.
Speaking out and speaking the truth, that they will do anything they possibly can to silence the truth. But it doesn't work with me. It's not going to work with others.
You're going to be on anybody's short list to be a potential vice president of our country.
What short list? Sean, look, Sean Clanity going right up there lying. What did I tell y'all in that poll? That I'm going to keep bringing that poll up. When I took that poll last week and said who is worse between the grifter and their supporters, a lot of people overwhelmingly said the grifter. But then as I kept pointing it out over time, and in a very short time at that, a lot of people who said the grifter has started to look at it a little bit differently and said, you know what? The supporter is just as worse. Look at what he just said to Tim Scott. He said, you know, you're on the short list to become vice president. What short list? Key Prince said the short bus. But yeah, they love to hype their head up, and Tim Scott head can't get any bigger than it already is. I'm surprised he was able to squeeze into that collar shirt.
That's just a fact. Is this a means of just trying to intimidate you, threaten you, or maybe they're threatened by you? Just asking.
They are certainly threatened by me. Absolutely.
Who's threatened by you? Not me. Not anybody in this chat. Who was threatened? Y'all put a 1 in the chat if y'all are threatened by Tim Scott. Put a 2 if you are not. I'm going to put my 2 in right now. Who is scared of Tim Scott? Who is fearful of what would happen if Tim Scott got a position? Well, he bet he shouldn't, because he's definitely not qualified. This guy really thinks he's bigger than what he is. Nobody is fearful of this dude. There we go. An overwhelming amount of 2s. Let's continue.
Sean, they're threatened by me, and they're threatened by people like me. Here's what they refuse to say. They refuse to say the truth. Under Joe Biden, crime in devastated neighborhoods, crime in impoverished neighborhoods, crime in Black neighborhoods has...
The first time he mentions Black, he talks about crime. There you go. The first time he mentions Black, it's to talk about crime. Like I said, this is the year, y'all. This is the year.
Skyrocketed. When you defund the police, disrespect the police, what do you expect?
Tim Scott, well, if you would look around, do you know how many people who are not Black? Like I told you, he's using all the buzzwords. He acts as if only Black people do these things. How many Operation Protect the White Boy videos have I done over the last almost 2 years where it has shown an overwhelming amount of white people, both men and women, getting into it with the cops, and barely anything happens to them? Even some who aren't even white, but they're not Black. Just look at what I'm talking about with my South of the Bordarian stories. Look at the one that I did today, this morning. That's another perfect example right there.
We've seen devastation after devastation in big liberal Democratic city after big liberal Democrat city. What they're asking for is the same thing conservatives are asking for, a restoration of law and order. They want more policing, not less policing. These are law-abiding citizens that under Joe Biden, crime is high, inflation is high, unemployment is devastating. You can't even afford to buy a house in Bidenomics. So you add together high crime, high inflation, low opportunities, and minorities, millennials, and women all looking to our party.
God. That's what he thinks. And he wonder why he is the court jester of that party. Well, one of them, because there's several, but he's definitely out front. He's definitely out there in front. And this was the perfect ending because it segues into the next thing that I have to talk about. So in case y'all are unaware, Tim Scott now has a new role now that he's tethered to Trump now. And that new job is he has to go out and actually mix and mingle with black people, something that'll probably make him itch, in order to galvanize more black people to come to the side of 45. Out of all people 45 picked to be his surrogate to go out and galvanize black voters, he picked one of the unlikelies to do it. Because there is not one black person I know of personally, far and wide, or especially in the state of South Carolina, who would work with Tim Scott. We see the company he keeps. We see who he's always around, and it ain't us. And that's fine, because we don't want to be around him either. But I think this is also a shaming thing that's happening with him to make him look more of a fool than he already is. So we're going to go through this article, and shout out to, I want to say it was Lisa Cabrera. I think she was the first one I saw talk about this. Shout out to her. And also shout out to Rob over at Blacklight Revelations. He actually just wrapped up a live stream not too long ago where he was talking about the same exact thing. Shout out to everybody in the new black media. So this article I'm reading from is coming from The Hill, and shout out to those who are subscribed to Rob, because I know some of y'all probably already seen this article, but for those of you who haven't, it's a doozy. Trust me. Tim Scott to serve as key Trump surrogate amid push for black voters. Out of all the people he could have picked, he picked Tim Scott, someone who has no connection to black people at large. None. No one's going to gravitate towards him. No black person feels a connection to Tim Scott. That's going to put a dent. And shout out to Kid Gravity for being a member for 22 months. He said Tim Scott is the political version of Steven. Oh, definitely. I can see that. Definitely. So let's get to it. Senator Tim Scott is poised to play a key role in former President Trump's campaign as Trump and the GOP look to boost support among black voters. Scott has been a fixture on Trump's stage since dropping his 2024 bid late last year, spurring speculation he could be Trump's vice president pick. Only in his dreams. He also drew scrutiny recently over remarks defending Trump's policy regarding race. The South Carolina senator's public support of Trump comes as Republicans have recently made a concerted effort to appeal to more black voters, long seen as a core constituency for Democrats. He certainly brings a lot to the table. What does he bring into what table? Brian Sechik, who sounds like a piece that sounds very PC. What does he bring to the table and to whose table? Nothing. Whose table? Not our table. GOP strategist and Trump campaign alum told The Hill, he's a substantive person. He's very conservative with strong ties into the African American community. That whole line is a joke. Again, Tim Scott has no alignment with Black people collectively whatsoever. See, this is the part that pisses me off, because my intelligence is being insulted. Those ties could be important for Trump as he seeks to broaden his support ahead of what is expected to be a close race in November against President Biden, who has been struggling in polls. A source familiar with the senator said Scott and Trump have kept up frequently since the senator left the race in November. The senator and former president have a very strong working relationship and accomplished a lot during the Trump administration. The most notable, the source said, was the tax cuts under the Trump administration and their work together to ensure permanent funding for historically Black colleges and universities. I have to piggyback on something that was said in Rob's chat, especially when it came to the HBCUs, and shout out to LB because I believe he's in the chat because he was the one that said it. Every president has donated to HBCUs at some point or another. What is it that about this one that is so special? Nothing. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to actually do something special, you would have done what Robert F. Smith did for those graduates of Morehouse back in 2019 when he wiped out their student loan debt. Now that was impressive. And he's not even a president. He's not even a politician. Now that is something to write home about. Anybody can fund something, but not everyone's going to wipe out everyone's student loan debt, not just the students, but their parents as well. Albeit it probably was a tax write-off, but hey, he got them starting off on the right foot. They just basically graduated with no debt. Meanwhile, you got Biden around here saying that he's going to take out a little bit of debt here and a little bit of debt here. Oh, but you had to have graduated like in the 90s, in order to qualify. Trump won a meager 6% of Black voter support in 2016 during his first presidential bid, according to Pew Research Center. That number ticked up to 12% in 2020, but Black voters remain staunch supporters of the Democratic Party. Yet Democrats have faced struggles with Black voters in recent years. Biden, in particular, has seen his numbers drop with the demographic in several recent surveys. A poll from the New York Times and Siena College published late last year found that 1 in 5 Black voters said they would back someone else other than Trump or Biden. They sound like me because I went independent. The same poll found that Trump's numbers with Black voters were the highest any Republican presidential candidate had earned in decades. And you want to know what's so crazy? A lot of them don't even ask Black voters why they've decided to switch. A lot of them, some Black people who doing that, saying they're doing it as a spite vote, despite what anything Trump has to say or any policies. They're doing it just to get back at the Democratic Party. Some are saying that. It has nothing to do with your so-called policies, even though we looked at some of your policies and it's no better than the Democrats. Meanwhile, a USA Today Suffolk University poll from earlier this month found signs that Black voters younger than 35 were soaring on the president. That last point is particularly notable, said Cliff Albright, co-founder and executive director for Black Voters Matter. There's different levels of enthusiasm, Albright said. Younger Black voters aren't that enthused right now, and that's putting it lightly, for a range of reasons, some which have more merit than others. The biggest one at this moment is being the war in Gaza. Excuse me? I don't know many Black people as a collective that aren't voting because of what's going on overseas. Again, tone deafness, pulling stuff out of their behind. Republicans now are hoping to chip away even more at Biden's support with that group of voters. And Scott, the only Black Republican in the Senate, and I'm sure he's proud of it, and a high-profile figure coming off of a failed, they should have put that in all caps and bolded it, presidential bid, could play a central role in that effort. I don't know how much of a role he thinks he's going to play, but it ain't going to be a big one, nor is it going to be central. Already, he has proven himself to be a vocal defender of Trump. We've seen that performance. I don't want to see it again. Framing the former president as the best candidate to unite the country. He has also defended policies under Trump that affected black voters. So I'm guessing he's also defending the fact that Trump said that he was going to basically allow qualified immunity to stay in place. Telling Laura Ingraham, Miss Shut Up and Dribble herself, in a recent interview that Trump did more for minorities than Biden. Again, key words there, not black people, but minorities, but this is the group. But black people is the group they're supposed to be reaching out to. Again, this guy's supposed to be the surrogate to go out and collect black people to come over. But he's saying that Trump did more for minorities. There are key words here, y'all. You have to make sure you pay attention to those words. Think about the fact that Donald Trump put more money in historically black colleges and universities than any other president, Scott said, before later adding, guess what? He will help white people and black people and brown people. I mean, he likes everybody. Man, this Tim Scott, he doesn't even like you. He could probably tell you he doesn't like you to your face, and you will smile showing all 32 teeth and all of your gums. Just glad that he told you to your face how much of a jellyback you are. Scott's near constant presence on the campaign trail has also sparked talk that he could be on the ticket with Trump. And that's why he's pushing so hard, because there's this push for him to become vice president or get on the ticket. That's why he's pushing so hard to do it. He's trying to get a job. Another possible nod to the pivotal role black voters could play in the November election. But Seachick instead, Scott had his work cut out for him if he wanted to be number 2 under the former president. I'm sure that's a place he knows all too well. Let's continue. I think the big issue with Senator Scott is, can he deliver a punch? The GOP strategist said the vice presidential nominee for Trump is going to go after Biden, go after Harris in an aggressive fashion. And I don't think the campaign showed that level of fight from Senator Scott. He doesn't seem like a fighting person at all. Scott is also set to serve as an important surrogate as Trump looks to defeat his primary rival, Nimrata Randhawa, in South Carolina, the senator's home state, in late February. Almost said her name wrong. Nimrata, the former governor of South Carolina, appointed Scott in 2013 to fill the Palmetto State's vacant seat. Scott later won the 2014 special election and subsequent elections with more than 60% of the vote. All of this does nothing but help Trump, said Sarah Chamberlain, president and CEO of the Republican Main Street Partnership, who argues Scott could also attract the support of Republicans who are not fully in the quote-unquote MAGA camp. That might be able to pull some of the Republicans that aren't necessarily Trump Republicans over to Trump, she said. She added that she sees Scott doing well, particularly with suburban women, aka white women, because he is highly regarded by his fellow senators. Again, if you are appealing mainly to them, how is he supposed to go out there and galvanize black people? He basically told you who his base is. He's letting you know who his base is, and it's not black people. She argued he also doesn't have any baggage, and the fact that he's now engaged, and I'm side-eyeing that engagement, could appeal to more religious voters. Chamberlain expects Scott to keep in mind, when Tim Scott was facing all that backlash last year, when they was questioning why he's never been married, doesn't have kids or anything like that, that came from his side. So when he said that there was anti-blackness or racism coming from the white liberals, that's why I looked at him with the side eye and was like, wait a minute, don't forget who attacked you last year and questioning you because you were never married and because you don't have any kids. It was them saying that and saying, oh, there's no way we're going to allow you. First off, you're black. Then you don't even have a spouse. or you were never married at least one time, and you don't have any kids, and what happens? You just pop up with this random white woman a couple months later, and then just recently you got engaged. No one's believing you. Shout out to Black Logic for the $20 super chat. He says, great broadcast, brother, and B1. And also shout out to Youth for reaching 20,000 subscribers. Who does Tim Scott think he's fooling? See, this is why we got to remember this, y'all. We've got to remember, we got to have the mind and memory of an elephant. Denise, the incel of the academy, or both. Chamberlain expects Scott to appear on stage with the former president in South Carolina, but she said he'll soon need to start campaigning on his own so Trump can reach moderates, suburban voters, and black voters. Now, again, keep in mind, they said they want him to reach out to black voters, but look at how they labeled it. Moderates first, suburbans second, and black people last. I'm telling you, context clues. Context matters. I think the primaries are over, so I would not send him to any primaries, said Chamberlain, who said she believes Trump will be the nominee. I'd send him to Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, where there is a large African-American population in the swing state that needs to vote for Trump in order for Trump to win. And while Biden has seen warning signs with black voters, Trump still has a lot of ground to make up with that demographic. The Times and Siena College poll from last year found that 71% of black voters still back the incumbent. The USA Today Suffolk University poll from earlier this month found the number to be slightly lower, but still significant. Some organizers are warning Scott could be a hindrance with black voters, particularly black men. And that's all we've been saying. He doesn't appeal to black people, no, black men or women. I don't really know if black men are excited about Tim Scott. Well, I'll tell you for you. They're not. Black men are not excited about Tim Scott. Mondale Robinson, founder and principal of the Black Male Voter Project, told The Hill, arguing that Scott has failed black voters repeatedly, and they would know because of him being the senator in the state of South Carolina, which has a good sizable black population. He does not show up with the needs, issues, and policies most important to our community, Robinson said. He proves that when he votes for Trump, when he comes out and endorses Trump, and also when he shows up to the Republican Party as a platform, that seems like it's actively against black people. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say it's just that's part of it, but even without that, he still is not on black people's side, and black people aren't on his side. One issue that has rankled black voters is Scott's stance on police reform. Although Democrats have pushed on federal police reform after the 2020 murder of George Floyd, Scott, the only sitting black Republican senator at the time, joined his colleagues in rejecting the Democrats' proposed legislation. How about instead of talking about police reform, you just get rid of qualified immunity? Now that will impress me, but we know they're not about to do that. Others are equally skeptical Scott will help Trump with the demographic. The last time Donald Trump went out and found a black man, that didn't go well, said Albright of Black Voters Matters, alluding to former professional football player Herschel Walker. Walker ran for Georgia Senate state seat against Raphael Warnock in 2020 and lost in the runoff election. Meanwhile, with South Carolina's primary quickly approaching, Robinson pointed out that black voter turnout in that state has been low for the last several elections. Only 22% of black men in the state of South Carolina are likely to vote, he said, adding that only 27% of black men participated in the last 4 elections. That's not a boost. That's just a sign of bad things to come, at least for that state. Tim Scott is not doing enough to turn out black men in South Carolina, let alone across the rest of this country. I can't even argue with that last point. Like I told people, Tim Scott does not appeal to black people, and black people do not gravitate toward him. We already know what he's all about. We already know. And shout out to Scoop 2003 for the super chat. He says Trump won't end qualified immunity and wants more police. That means our lives are in danger. Exactly. And again, shout out to Professor Black Truth, because he mentioned that in one of his streams. He played the audio. It's just amazing how many people forgot that part or didn't see that. But I've already said what I've had to say. But now I want to hear from y'all. So if anybody would like to come up, make sure y'all go ahead and hit the link right there in the chat. It is there for you to come up. I'll probably keep the lines open maybe till around like 1:20. So I give enough people to come in and say what they want to say about the subject, whether it's about Tim talking about how he's now dealing with racism from white liberals, or the fact that Donald Trump has now appointed him to go out and scoop up and find these black voters wherever they are in the world. What's going on, Wallow J?
Same old shit. Tim Scott ain't just basically Ben Carson. That's all he's going to be, and all he ever be. Like, dude, you only reason why he put you in that position because he needs black people to vote. Well, he technically don't really need black people to vote for him, but he's trying to get more people to vote for him so he can beat Biden. That's all he really wants to do with you. Right. That's all he wants to do with him. Like, dude, ain't you know good with them Republicans are not about to have some black man with a white woman in that White House. That is not finna happen.
Look at what they did with what's his name, Daniel Cameron.
Sure,
and he was running for governor for a state.
Yep, they don't want your ass in there. Hell, they already mad Kamala in there with a white man. Like they don't like. I don't know, man. Some of these folks don't think about this stuff, man. I just Tim Scott is the dumbest son bitch I ever met in my life. You gonna sit up here and say, "Oh, these people being racist to me"? Didn't you say racism don't exist in this country, man? Like, I just want to raise my hand, and just ask him that in a crowd and see what his response is going to be. I just would love to know that response.
I can only imagine he's probably going to make the same faces he's making on the thumbnail.
I don't want to imagine that. I ain't trying to have nightmares. I'm too old for that shit. But man, November 5th, 2024 needs to hurry up because I'm tired of looking at his butt broken looking ass. But man, I'm out. Somebody else should come up and roast this motherfucker too. See you later, Torian.
All right. Shout out to Wallow J. Next up, we got Cosmo Fury. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. And thanks for the community post, man. I appreciate that so much.
No problem.
Man, Tim Scott, I was sitting here looking at the whole situation with him, and I still don't get to this day what don't he don't get the memo. I don't understand it. I think he do, but this is performative.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah, I think it's performative, and I think because what price they paid, what price did he pay? What did they pay him to perform like this?
It's embarrassing. Like, you saw the video that I had played. It's every time he opens his mouth to speak, it's something cringe that comes out of it every single time. He doesn't say anything of substance at all.
It's a lot of moisture that come out of there too. I don't know if you noticed that. Maybe that's why he had the proposal done dramatically, another performance to take away from the fact that he's sus. I mean, I hate to say it, but come on now. Listen to how he enunciates some of his words.
Yeah, like he's trying too hard to be very, very articulate. Like, it's like he's trying to say every single syllable. It's like, just talk. Like, stop trying to stop acting like this is an enunciation class. I know, like I said, he literally goes out there and he tries to be the quote unquote good boy, to appear to be non-threatening. Someone else has said something that I saw in another chat where you notice that Tim Scott is always very, 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 very clean shaven. Yeah, it's almost like this guy uses that Gillette like every day to make sure there's not even an ounce of stubble on his face.
Yeah, he's conforming. He's pretty much conforming. I mean, look at Daniel Cameron too.
Yeah.
And if Wallow J, you still listening, I want you to ask that question to him. I want to see him buck.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be making. I'm sure he'll if they keep him around long enough, he'll be making his rounds.
All right, I'm not going to take up time. I know other people want to get to it. Thank you so much for bringing me up. I got to go do some housework while I listen.
I appreciate you coming up.
No problem.
Shout out to Kazuma Fury. Next up, we got Miss Nisi. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh boy. You know I'm getting ready to make my statement. Here it comes. You ready?
Yes.
Chat, y'all ready? Okay. Tim Scott. We all know he's a coon. We all know he is a bootlick. But he is also a fuckboy and an embarrassment to the whole black community. And that's all I got, boo-boo. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks for coming up. Shout out to Miss Nisi for coming up. The link is there in the chat for anybody else that would like to come up and say what they have to say. I know y'all have something y'all want to say, unless y'all are currently on, the job right now. You can't come up and all you can do is listening. Like I said, I wanted to do the midday because I figured, you know what? It's probably your lunch break. But yeah, he is an embarrassment. A huge embarrassment. Like when he got up there and was saying, we need Trump. He said, we love you, Trump. Who, like Kid Gravity says, who is we? Who is we? Speak for yourself. You love Trump. Man, sometimes I wish I could read minds. That way I could enter the minds of some of the people that look at this dude just act a complete and utter buffoon every time he gets out there in front of them cameras and begins to perform his best menstrual routine. I mean, he got the fresh tappers on deck. They freshly polished. They are nicely shined. I mean, he be prepared to tap dance to try and save his life. As if something drastic will happen if he doesn't. Okay, we got our next person. Black Logic, what's going on?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good.
Did you see the video where Tim Scott was at Donald Trump after I think it was the Iowa or the New Hampshire caucus primaries where he won that particular battle. I don't know if you played that video clip today, but basically Donald Trump was denigrating Tim Scott in front of everyone. And Tim Scott had the audacity, he had the gall to go up and state, that's because I love you. Because what Donald Trump was saying, he was saying, I can't believe that Nikki Haley appointed you to the Senate. And then basically used that the first disrespect was that she appointed you to the Senate. He just couldn't believe that. Then you backstab her by endorsing me. And I don't even know if I really want your endorsement, because he won't be able to trust Tim Scott. No way, no how.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That was the part that I was just alluding to before I brought you up, when he was like, we love you, Tim Scott. And I was like, who was we? Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, Tim Scott, did you not just catch what he said? Like, we all heard it. He literally just told you just here as the mascot, and he's proud of it. That's why that's why I said Donald Trump is literally making putting him out there to be a fool. He knows black people don't mess with Tim Scott like that, but Tim Scott's the only black person that he has over there. Well, besides Ben Carson, but he ain't gonna send Ben Carson out there. He's sending Tim Scott out there. He's probably doing that so he can get you away from him. He's probably tired of you being up under him like a little lap dog. I swear that man is such a lap dog. He probably has a little shock collar around his neck. Every time Trump pushes that button, he gets in line.
And you know why he did that? He did that. He's doing this to apply for a job, because he knows definitely that eventually Donald Trump may become president again. He's going to take his chances on that, because Joe Biden is losing the black vote because he hasn't done nothing for us. Neither did Obama. I won't go there, but nonetheless, he's literally staying around like a little, like you said, like a little puppy dog, in order to get a position in Donald Trump administration.
Yeah, definitely, exactly. And he's probably tired of being, senator. He wants to pay a pay increase, and he figures, this is the best way to go about it. And that's the thing. He probably also sees that without this, he can't go any further than being the senator in South Carolina. Because let's be real here, they not about to pick him to be governor, which would be the next step up. He's not going to be picked to be governor. Why do you think he skipped past that and went straight to trying to run for president? I said, Tim Scott, you are wasting your time. Absolutely. I was surprised he actually lasted that long as he did. But when he dropped out, I was like, yeah. But then now that, Trump is in it, he's doing everything that he can. Like we said, he's trying to get a job. He's auditioning. He's, like I said, he's very performative. And yes, Autobot Jasmine 98, this is the guy that said America is not a racist country.
Correct. Him and Nikki Haley, by the way.
Yep. And Kamala Harris.
That raises a question, Torian. I think the question it raises is, why did Nikki Haley appoint him to the Senate?
He was the diversity hire.
That part.
that's the best. That's the exactly Didi. He was the DEI before DEI was a thing.
Absolutely. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your time.
Exactly. I appreciate you coming up. And think about it. Like I said, he got elected to the Senate back in 2013. He has not gone any further than that since then. He tried to run for president and didn't win there because on a collective scale, the establishment does not mesh with him. I'm sure the people down in South Carolina don't mess with him. That's why they said in the article, they said he does not mesh well with black people down there because he doesn't talk to them. And I'm not surprised by that at all. I'm curious to know what his response was after Dylan Roof did what he did, because he was already in the Senate for 2 years when that happened. But let me bring this person up, White Tim Scott.
Let's be clear. America is not a racist country.
Man, that's quite a thumbnail too.
You could do a lot in a minute and a half. I was actually looking up what you just said, and he really didn't say anything about Dylan Roof.
I'm sure he didn't. What could he say? What could he really say? Because
this was
again,
effed up.
Yeah, exactly. But from him, what could he say and sound genuine?
Wait, what is this? Ooh. So he got to talk about Trump's impeachment, but he ain't saying nothing about Dylan Roof. Come on, blood.
There you go. Like I said, that's why I said this is the funny part about it. I said I'm just sitting here saying to myself, I said Trump set this dude up and he doesn't even realize it. He set this dude up and he doesn't even realize it. I said he knows that Trump knows that Tim Scott does not have a good rapport with black people, men or women, but especially black men, since he's a man, apparently himself, allegedly a black man at that. But he knows that he does not have a good connection, not even a connection at all with black people. He just doesn't. Again, just look at whenever he's in the room and who he's always around, who he's always smiling around.
Coons. Don't forget that. Well, he did go against the George Floyd bill.
Of course, no surprise there.
Yeah, he's quite a character, but I think he's gonna be the salvo for them clean out all the black people out of the Republican Party.
And again, remember, like what we were talking about, they keep saying they want us to come over there, but
you want to
deal with, like, we come over there, look at who we would have to deal with, like the black people that they're so-called representatives of. Tim Scott, dare I say, even though he's extremely performative, Terrence K. Williams. We would have to deal with those individuals. Who's trying to deal with that?
I know you don't want to do it, but this is what they want us to get on.
Oh.
Join this MAGA train, baby. Choo choo choo.
Do you really want that?
No, like,
and I like.
And by the way, y'all, for those in the chat who didn't know, that's Terrence K. Williams that y'all just saw there.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about taking the family on a cross country train trip, but not if they got MAG on it. No way.
Yeah,
MAG is gonna get you hurt.
But
MAG ain't got no power.
Speaking of Terrence K. Williams, I wonder what he had to say after the whole E. Jean Carroll situation.
Oh, you know he was buck dancing.
I know he was probably up there performing again. He probably wasn't dancing gleefully like he was before because Trump has to pay out.
Conservatives lost their mind. They're like, why is he paying $83 million? I'm like, because that's what the court said. The fuck? Why you asking dumbass questions?
Exactly.
Don't ask stupid questions. Please don't. But you know, these are conservatives, so they gotta ask stupid questions. He has something to say about Caitlyn Jenner.
Who, Tim Scott?
This nigga is a whole coon. Dude, he got a video on his Twitter. He's frying chicken at 2:00 in the morning.
Tim Scott or Terrence K. Williams?
The Terrence. You're a whole coon. You're a whole coon. Why are you frying chicken drumsticks at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Right.
But come on, bro.
Them dishes are put up at 2 a.m.
Don't let mom and dad catch you down in the kitchen.
Yeah, all them dishes.
Up their kitchen, they spent hours cleaning up.
Now that's the one right there who I can't wait to cue the violins on,
bro. November 6th, you might break the record on November 6th.
You know, I've been finding that I've been doing a lot of political commentaries lately. I recorded a couple of them, like maybe in the last couple of days. Y'all will see them eventually.
It's tough, right?
I mean, it is, but it's necessary.
Melanin Future say, are there any serious grounded black conservatives? There's a couple. You have to go ahead.
But I was saying they're overshadowed by people like Terrence K. Williams and Tim Scott.
You got to go to the real grounded black conservatives. Don't have big pages. They're the ones that are actually in the neighborhoods. Like I know 2 of them. They actually do the work in their neighborhoods. The rest of them, they just be talking.
Yeah, again,
which is going to be fun at 3:30 when we spotlight some of them.
Oh yeah, I definitely can't wait. I definitely can't wait to see that. Go ahead and plug that because I have the notification turned on for that because I have absolutely no clue what that's going to be about. But you hyping this up like this is going to be like must see TV.
Right. No, this is 4 years of declarations coming. Ironically, a couple of days before Black History Month, because I warned these idiots during that 2020 election. I said, listen. Y'all's best bet, especially when he came out with that platinum plan, I said, y'all best bet is to come down here and talk to the black grassroots. Even if you don't believe a word what you're saying, the optics alone would move black people forward. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to mess with them white conservatives. Cool. He lost. And I said, watch. Whatever side loses, they got to get younger. They got to get more adept with their messaging. So it was on the conservatives. It was on the Republicans. Change your messaging. Didn't want to change it. Okay. Black conservatives, they said, screw us, right?
Yep.
Okay. Haven't you noticed ever since that day up until today, slowly but surely, every one of them always caught something bad happening to them. Now you might think, oh, it's just life. Things are going to happen to somebody. But then we look at this month and between this month, last month, and even mid-November, hell, even October with this Israel thing happening, all these black conservatives been getting turned on.
Oh, I have a video coming up soon about Matt Gaetz.
Ooh.
It's going to be concerning about him saying something that was off code for him to say and how his constituents literally
Went in on
came
him.
down on him, but it's linked to black conservatives at the same time, and how they really don't have a place over in Magaville like that. When I saw you probably already know what I'm talking about. I think Harvey spoke about it too. But
I mentioned commentary on it.
Okay, cool, but I can't wait when I think this is my
3:30,
first,
bro.
I think this is my first time talking about
honestly,
Matt
I
Gaetz.
might have to have you come up if you're not busy.
I should be available.
You might have to do the show with me because somebody said something that this person they're going in a dangerous category. They're officially dangerous.
It's not who I think it is. It's not. It's probably someone I don't even expect.
No, it's somebody you know, but they officially crossed over into the dangerous category. These are, you remember how Malcolm used to say we gotta watch out for those real black people that don't want to help black folks,
man or woman.
If I tell you the gender, you're gonna know. But yeah, they officially crossed over to dangerous, and we in trouble because this person got a lot of influence.
Wow, so now I'm really curious. So yeah, I will
3:30.
I will definitely.
I need y'all over there.
I will definitely be over there.
Yeah. And I mean, a lot of these black conservatives started to wake up. I was like, it's funny. We told y'all this years ago, but y'all didn't want to listen. Now you want to listen because they turned on you. Okay, that's fine. We all got to learn somehow. Okay. But yeah. I hope not Rob. I hope TD don't see it because I'm about to talk about his big homie.
Brandon Johnson?
Nah, it's a black conservative.
Okay, well,
I'm about to go in on his big homie ABL. He gonna be mad at me, boy.
Is that one of the people you're talking about, or somebody else?
No, they're gonna be part of this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he got his wake up call because he ain't getting no engagement like he used to.
Oh yeah, I've been noticing his engagement. I've noticed his engagement been kind of low lately. Yeah, and that's gonna be the same for all of them.
November 5th, boy. November 5th, November 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and my birthday. Oh, it's good that whole week.
You said you taking off. You calling it sick?
No, I wish I could take the whole week off, but I'm calling that wake up week. Oh man, no. Shh. I wish I was a realtor where these people live, man. They get that phone call talking about we gotta put our house up on the market. I gotta put my condo up on the market. All right, motherfucker. I don't know how I sell a coon house. I don't know how I do that. But I'm gonna let you get back to the show. I'm gonna finish cooking this beef stew real fast.
I appreciate you coming up.
Yes, 3:30 people.
I will be there. I will be there.
Yeah. I'll send you the link in a little while. I need you up there.
All right.
All right.
All right. Shout out to Kid Gravity for coming on up, and shout out to Scoop 2003 for the super chat. He said when he said that he was exiled from the black community, he was no good in the hood like those like him. Stop having these black dropouts speak for us. Exactly. Well, I appreciate you for sending the super chat. And y'all, I think that's going to be it. I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it down from here. We pretty much got what we all out what we had to say. Again, shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to those who contributed. Kid Gravity for being a member. Black Logic, Scoop 2003 for the super chat. Cyberdon 100 for the Cash App. I definitely greatly appreciate it. Again, like Kid Gravity said, make sure to go ahead and go over to his channel for his stream at 3:30. It looks like I'm going to be joining his stream to talk about whoever it is. Again, I have no clue who we talking about, but I have a feeling it's going to be a good one. Shout out to John Guillory for being a member for 8 months. I appreciate it. Also, make sure to have tomorrow's video. I will put the premiere window up later on. But of course, if you saw, the order is going to be the video about Vlad insulting Taraji P. Henson. I'm just going to leave it right there. When I put the premiere window up, it'll be a description right there, and you'll be able to read to get an idea of what we're going to be discussing. To the Patreon members, the members on here, the people on all the social media platforms, shout out to you for following and supporting me and sending me endless amounts of stories. I may not get to all of them, but I will skim through them to see which ones stick out to me that I feel is worthy of talking about. With that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Remember 3:30 over at Kid Gravity's channel. Be safe and be one.